I'm Richard Beneville. I'm the mayor of Nome. Hello, Central.
All right, guys. This is an amazing experience here in Nome, and having the opportunity to meet one of Alaska's treasures.
Well, aren't you kind?
Yes, we have gotten around the state quite a bit over the years, and I can honestly say you are one of Alaska's treasures after 4 decades.
People know me?
You have to. I know you now.
Wow.
People need to know you. Oh, look who came back from the bathroom.
Hello, Central.
Yes.
I feel better now.
Hey,
Good.
so
Good.
come on now. Richard is one of Alaska's treasures.
Seriously, I totally agree.
Thank you.
Also, the mayor of Nome.
Yeah, watch out.
Yeah, so we have to come back and just sit around and
Come back for
share
Iditarod.
stories.
It's like Mardi Gras with dogs.
Sounds like a plan. We'll do the best we can.
Hello, Central.
Well, now it's time to head on one of Richard's famous tours, and I kind of think that this is going to be the best part.
I think having gotten to know him over the last couple of days, this promises to be
A hoot.
an adventure and a hoot.
Nome is where they formed the first battalion of native people called the Territorial Guard, and they were coast watchers because who else knows the coast and stuff better for World War II? When we purchased Alaska, this is kind of heavy-duty stuff, but when we purchased Alaska from Russia, the indigenous people of Alaska did not become citizens of the United States of America. They became wards, a special level of protection. That was not a good thing because you couldn't vote, you couldn't live where you wanted, you couldn't do a lot of things. So you were officially, to use a term, a second-class citizen. And a lot of that has hung on. You see these trees, man. These trees are we got trees in Council. You don't have any trees in Nome, primarily because the permafrost does not allow root systems to support them. So you don't have them. This is going over the Snake River. We're going to go take a look at the port, which are in the process of expanding, because there is no infrastructure north of here as far as ports are concerned, and the nearest port to the south is 2.5 days away in Dutch Harbor. So, and we are getting, this year we'll have 6 ships going to Northwest Passage. We had 800 vessels call on Nome, and that's fishing, military, research, all of that sort of thing. There are only 2 ways to get from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean in the Northern Hemisphere by water, and they are the Panama Canal and the Bering Strait. And that's what's happening. The Bering Strait is more accessible, and it is where you can get through. And either from going over the top of Russia from Europe or going over Northwest Passage from the other direction, they all come through the Bering Strait. And that is where the changes are absolutely incredible. Changes as far as climate are concerned are more visible in the far north than anywhere else on the planet, with the possible exception of Antarctica. For the summer is the Iditarod Arch, the burled arch under which the Iditarod sled dog race finishes. As mayor, I get to go to the opening of the race, the beginning of the race, and I'm either here under that arch on Front Street, which is where they usually is, and watch these 80 teams sometimes come through.
So we wouldn't be traveling to a unique destination if we didn't take you into the grocery store, and I'd say Nome is pretty unique.
I think it's very unique, and knowing what we know about the freight issues into this city, I think you're going to be pretty shocked by the prices.
So we're Alaska residents and have a little bit of knowledge about the way things operate here, but the AC store in the rural locations of Alaska is more of a catch-all store, so you can find ATVs, housewares, and groceries.
For the overlanders, you'll be interested to know this little bottle of propane, $10.99. A gallon of milk, $5.99.
A 12-pack of Coca-Cola, $12.69. Top Ramen definitely has a cult following, 69 cents a pack.
You're probably picking up on a theme here. Things that weigh more cost more, like this 5-pound bag of flour is $7.79.
Bananas, $1.79 a pound. This one got a lot of attention in our Barrow video, but a watermelon is $2.99 a pound, and this one is a $48 watermelon. I better be careful with this thing. Well, now begins one of our favorite things to do, driving around and sharing stuff with you guys. Well, if you're wondering what kind of wildlife is there around the town of Nome, well, there's muskox that pretty much just free range and go wherever they like. Such an amazing looking prehistoric creature.
We're gonna climb this bumpy dirt road up to Anvil Mountain, and while we do, I'm going to share a little pro tip with you. It's something that I learned when I was flying out to Dutch for work. The Aleutians in particular are a really expensive place to fly, and locals would buy miles instead of plane ticket fare to get to and from their home city. So if you are thinking about coming to a remote destination in Alaska by air, know that on Alaska Airlines you can get anywhere in the state if you're flexible on the flights for 15,000 miles round trip. That is often considerably cheaper than what you would pay cash for it, especially because Alaska Airlines allows you to buy miles. And every October, right around PFD season, Alaska Airlines offers big sales on their miles. So if you're thinking of visiting any of these remote locations, keep in mind using miles instead of dollars to get you there, and you can probably save a few dollars.
Or if you spend a lot of money,
yeah,
you can already have miles on that account.
Yeah, that's true. If you have an Alaska Airlines card, first of all, usually when you sign up for it, you get a bonus mile, bonus package of miles if you spend a certain dollar amount in a certain period of time. And then on top of that, if you use that card for, say, fuel or groceries or whatever it is you spend every month, you can rack up miles pretty quickly. And a lot of people consider Alaska Airlines mileage program to be one of the best in the world.
Well, welcome to the top of Anvil Mountain. They said the view up here was spectacular, but I'm not quite sure what they're talking about. But this is the home to a Cold War era military communication system called White Alice. Google it for more information.
As you know, Alaska is very close to our neighbors, both Russia and Japan. And so a lot of the development that occurred here was the result of World War II as well as the Cold War.
This rental Jeep really has been great, guys. It's given us the liberties to scoot around town, hit the dirt roads outside of town, and the freedom that's nice. And also when we're doing our video production thing on days like this, being able to jump in the vehicle and control the elements, because it's foggy, misty, rainy, and cold and windy outside, but we can still be in here chatting with you.
Ben and I have kind of been chatting about this off and on all day, but as Alaskans over the last 11 years, how our perception of weather has changed. That is ever present here in Nome. We realized, as we're thinking about it, like, we're at a pretty profound location on the planet right now. We are at a location where two seas converge, seas. So the Bering Sea and the Arctic Ocean converge right out here. And we're not far from the Bering Strait.
Two continents.
Yeah, which means that we have two continents really close together and all of the tectonic plates that involves. On top of that, oceans carry their own microclimate, and we're right here on the water. So it just makes for this... I enjoy it, honestly.
But wait, we're also practically right below the Arctic Circle.
That's true.
So you would expect it not to have the world's most ideal weather.
No, very high latitudes.
Yes.
So be prepared. Bring a raincoat. Bring some layers. I've actually been very pleasantly surprised by the temperatures. I'm not sure that that's necessarily a good thing, because something you realize as you come further north is the effects of climate change are far more evident up here than they are down south. But you know, bring layers, bring a raincoat, plan on getting out in it anyway. Just don't let it deter you from going out and having a good time, even if it's driving around in the rain and looking at the beautiful sights. Well, we've made it back to town, and this building that you see here to our left is a new apartment complex. And we found out that the rent there for a 1-bedroom is $1,900 a month. Not sure if that includes utilities or not. Now, this next building that we're stopping at, or going past, is the Norton Sound Hospital, Regional Hospital. And this is a newly built hospital. I can't remember exactly what year, but like the early teens, 20 teens. You would think that it has lots of beds, but actually there are only 20 inpatient beds and then lots of clinics, different kinds of clinics here. I actually have gotten to tour this hospital because I came to teach at the CHAP Training Center once right after it was built, and it has incredible artwork. But one of the neatest things about it that I'll share with you, down here at the end you see the white building. That is actually their elder care home, and they did something really special, I think. They went through this huge process and got special permission from the state to be able to serve traditional native foods at their elder senior home.
That's awesome.
I really think it is. So, they made the news and it was a big deal, but I really think that's special.
So it's also very noteworthy. All the buildings are built on stilts. That's for the permafrost, guys.
If they didn't put all of the buildings up on stilts, the permafrost would actually melt from the heat of the building. And then you get what is called dilapidation, where the building sinks on one side or the other, or all of them, and actually sinks into the ground. The first time I saw this was as a kid in Dawson City, and I remember because I learned the word dilapidation there. Well, as you probably know, the reality is when you travel somewhere you can't catch everything, and the day kind of got away from us. The cultural center and the library is closed, but it's brand new and we've heard really good things about it. So if you make it out here, you ought to check it out.
And tell us what it's like.
Exactly.
Because we want to go.
Open noon to 6 days a week. Well, we're sitting outside what is now Nome City Hall, but in this location, the Dexter used to stand, which was a saloon owned by Wyatt Earp when he lived here in the early 1900s. So they've got a sign up here that commemorates the presence of that building at one time. Next to it, you'll see the bust of Roald Amundsen, and he was the first gentleman to traverse the Northwest Passage and landed here in Nome, not only by boat, but then he went over the North Pole in an airship with his crew and landed in Teller, about 40 miles from here. So they have his bust to commemorate his presence in the Arctic and the things that he achieved up here.
Those are the real explorers.
Yeah, no
I feel
kidding.
like there's nothing left for us that have the exploring spirit now, at least on this planet. So
you
now
gonna go to Mars?
Yeah, we need to start over-planeting.
Okay.
Well, everybody's always curious about fuel prices. Diesel $5.32 and unleaded $5.06, which is a little bit odd because at home in Seward, diesel is about 10% cheaper than gas. Well, these little drives around town are a lot of fun, and we look forward to doing more of these with you in our travels when we get back on the road again, because there's going to be a lot of unique places. And we may not have the local knowledge that we have from our Alaska routes, and also some of the factoids that we picked up from Richard, but I think we'll still have plenty to share.
We're always good at finding people who do know.
Yes. Getting in touch with the locals is key.
Mm-hmm. Ben just can't help himself. Anytime there's fishing, we've got to stop and go fishing. The pinks really are stacked up in here. And one thing about pink salmon fishing is they're great fisheries for kids. He's taunting you, Ben.
All it takes is the right lure.
Almost here. Just for a little bit of reference for you, we're not in some grand location out in the middle of nowhere. We are right across the road from the Nome airport and a little river that runs through the edge of town. Let's see if we land this one. All right, landed number 2. Number 2?
Yeah, one more.
Okay. You guys want to take bets now on how many times he's going to say one more? See what I mean about them being just happy fish? Don't they just look happy? Who bounces around like that if they're not happy? Benjamin, the mayor, called. He says we have to leave to go to our next engagement.
One more fish, honey.
Well, I don't know, Benjamin.
Trust me, I got this.
Okay. No pressure.
It never is when you're as good as I am.
Oh, God. It's getting deep, clear up here in the truck. I don't know how you're not drowning.
I don't know either.
I hate it when he does that. I still don't think you caught a fish as big as the one I caught yesterday.
You are professionally guided.
Oh, please. If that means being sufficiently ignored while you fish, then yeah, I guess that's professionally guided. No. We're gonna miss it.
You said one more fish as big as yours.
No, I didn't.
Please.
Get in the truck. I don't want to miss this.
We're not going to.
He said he's racing up there right now and to hurry because he's gonna do whatever it is he's doing. I told you. One more. Just one more. That was 2 fish ago. Just one more. I'd be mad if it wasn't so funny. Oh, you lost it.
I know, just one more.
No, that counts. Stop it. I'm gonna get in the driver's seat and leave you.
Drop my jacket off.
No.
No?
No.
Oh wait, yes.
Oh, God. Okay, this is the last one. This is it. No more, not one more.
Deal. It's like being a kid in a candy shop out there, honey.
Okay.
I know we're not eating them, but still, like, maybe every other cast or every 3 casts you catch a fish. That's a lot of fun. Alright guys, I'm doing it to you again. This video's a wrap. Problem is, we captured so much footage that this is just a natural stopping point. So hit that subscribe button because the next video we're going to introduce you to the people of Nome and hear some fascinating stories about life on the edge of the earth and how the city is poising itself for the future of Arctic travel. Thanks for riding along with us. We'll see you tomorrow.